In today's session of Divorce Court, Teresa Stemmons says she's sick and tired of not getting the attention she deserves from George.
I married the man. He should love me and he should care for me just as much as I do for him.
If you so-called love me, quote unquote, why did you spread your leg for your ex-boyfriend in your car?
I was just talking to him, and one thing led to the other.
Why does this talking always lead to the bed? I don't understand that.
But no.
And sex. I mean, I talk to people all the time. Don't know we talk?
All the time.
Now he says she broke his heart and he wants out.
I had told him real slowly and calmly that I was pregnant. I told him that it wasn't his. And I did.
Hush up. Reality hit me.
Oh, no. Don't you do that. I have on the black robe.
It's the case of Teresa Stemmons versus George Stemmons in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of George Stemmons versus Teresa Stemmons. Mrs. Stemmons, is this a typo? The marriage is 4 months?
No, ma'am.
That's for real?
Yes.
And you want to end it?
I want to end it because my wife cheated on me and ended up getting pregnant by a guy that was just, I found out was her ex-boyfriend. And the reason why it's like right now is a trust factor and I can't really trust her. And then
In 4 months of marriage, she's pregnant by someone else, Mrs. Stemmons?
I had gotten pregnant before the marriage.
You didn't know it?
No, I met him in July, and in August he left for the month of August, and I was having second thoughts about the marriage, and I talked to my boyfriend.
So not only did you have second thoughts, you had second acts, it seems like.
But the thing is, excuse me, Your Honor, the thing is, when I left, I explained to her the reason why I was leaving. I was leaving for the military.
So you left for the military and you left for another man? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I had talked to my boyfriend, and
Who's the boyfriend? The man you
the
married?
ex-boyfriend.
Or
My
someone
ex-boyfriend.
else? Someone else?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I was talking to him. He was there for me when I needed him. I didn't need him in a sexual way. That wasn't the intention at all. I was just talking to him. And one thing led to the other. And
But
I
see-
was
Does
having,
talking always
see-
lead to the bed? I don't understand that.
but no-
And sex. I mean, I talk to people all the time. Don't know we talk?
All the time.
You don't end up pregnant?
But Your Honor,
Figure it out.
I don't understand. Somebody have a new definition of talk?
But see, the thing is, the reason why I want to end it because basically there's a trust factor, and another thing is that I want to go, as far as my career and everything goes, I want to go continue going up, and she doesn't really want to go nowhere.
You still in the military?
I'm still in the military and also do collections, and I'm getting ready to go work for the government as a GS worker also.
So you're a hard-working man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And your
ma'am.
wife is a hard-working woman, too.
But
You
the-
don't
never
seem
asked
to be
him to
working at the
I
right
would
thing.
rather for him to be at home with me.
You'd rather for him to be at home with you?
Yeah.
See, the thing,
Can you buy food if he's at home with you?
the thing,
I work, I can afford my own food. He doesn't have to have 2 jobs, go to school, and work in the military. He can have his
but see,
life.
So
to
you
get
want
by
him to sit at home with
materialistically.
you and not work and not develop his
Well,
career?
hey, when you come home at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you don't
See,
even
Your Honor,
work
the thing
that
was-
time.
So you require more time than he's willing to give you.
Basically, yeah.
if she wasn't ready to get married, why did she marry me? She could have just walked away. And nothing is while I was away at
Because
school.
I had made that decision
while
to
I was
marry
away
you.
at school.
And we were
hush
gonna
up,
make
wait.
it together.
While I was away at
Oh,
school,
gosh.
I didn't force her or just like say, hey, you know, I'm out here trying to better my life and you want to be with me. Yeah, if you so-called love me, quote unquote, why did you spread your leg for your ex-boyfriend in your car? When it's supposed to, right now, it's a
Yeah,
lie
I planned
anyway.
it like that, huh?
Oh.
So
I was
let me
looking
ask
for
you,
it.
so you're saying within a month after you were married to Mr. Stemmons, Mr. Stemmons went away? And
No.
No.
I met him in July. He went away for the month of August.
August
He
and
came
September.
back. We got married. I found out I was pregnant, and I told him this.
so while the month that he was away, you were dealing with your ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
And he had already asked you to marry him and you had promised to marry him?
And over the phone.
Right.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
But during that time, you had second thoughts.
Right.
So did you tell him about having the relationship with the ex-boyfriend?
No, I had decided that I needed to close that chapter, and that I really loved him, and that I wanted to marry him.
So
and
you
make it
didn't
work.
tell Mr. Stemmons you were pregnant before you married him?
I didn't know I was pregnant before I got married.
But wait a minute, you married him in September, you found out you were pregnant
But I didn't find out about the pregnancy, Your Honor, until like,
until?
basically I was getting hints
2
from
days.
my mom.
No,
I was getting
my
hints
mom
from your
didn't
mom.
find out until
But
she
your-
talked to me on the phone
But your
right
mom
after I told you.
But you didn't tell
Wait
me
a minute,
nothing.
but when did you tell him?
She didn't tell me nothing. It was like almost like 3 weeks or so later. But it was basically because
3 weeks after the marriage?
2 weeks after the
But
marriage,
3
I
weeks to a
found
month
out that
after,
I was
because-
pregnant. I
Hush,
called
wait,
him
wait,
up
wait.
and I told him that I was pregnant.
And what
No,
did you
you did
tell him?
not.
Did you say, honey, I'm pregnant, we're going to have a baby? Or did you say, honey, I'm pregnant, and James and
not
I are going to
yours.
have a baby?
No,
I
you did
said
not
it
tell me
was
it was
not-
not mine. Because the thing was,
Why you
Yeah,
gotta
would you let
lie?
her answer my question, please?
I had told him that it was someone else's baby.
How
and
did
he
you
had got upset.
how did you say that?
Well, I did not plan to tell him over the phone.
Well, you know what? You keep doing a lot of things you don't plan. But my question is, how did
Nobody
you tell him?
does.
Oh, some of us do. Some of us plan our lives. Some of us plan when we're going to have babies. Some of us plan when we're going to have a conversation with someone else.
Some of us aren't that lucky.
No, it's not a matter of luck. It's a matter of taking your time, thinking about it, and sitting down and doing it. Has nothing to do with luck.
It'd be very
It has
nice
to do
if
with
that could happen
discipline,
with me.
and it has to do with personality, and it has to do with character.
Some
It's
people are
not
stronger than I
luck.
am.
All right? So what did you say to him?
Well, I had told him real slowly and calmly that I was pregnant. And he was silent, basically, and I told him that it wasn't his. He hung up the phone. He started packing. I talked to my mom. I told her what happened.
Where were you at the time you told him you were pregnant?
I was at work.
So so that's what I'm talking about, planning. I didn't plan to tell him over the phone. You called him over the telephone from work
To tell him I
and
was
said,
coming home.
I'm pregnant. So all you had to do was wait until you got home. You picked up the phone. That is
Now I
planning.
was sitting all day thinking about this awful thing that I have to tell my husband.
So you
I
wait till you
left
get
him.
home and tell him.
I want.
Yes, that's what we call taking control of our lives.
But-
Yes, you could have done it differently. You could have waited until you got home to tell him. Not that I think it would have made any difference if you told him
Right.
over the phone and told him at home, but I'm just trying to show you how you can plan.
and Your Honor, nothing was basically like.
But once she told you she was pregnant and it
All right,
wasn't
what-
your baby, what'd you decide?
Okay, I was upset at her, yeah. And the thing was, I told her, I said, no, you go tell a guy you more or less slept around with that he has a kid. No. Well, I'm gonna go tell him it's not your business, your
So
place
she didn't want you to tell the
No.
real fact.
I did not care if you. I did not say you
Because
go
she-
on ahead and do that. Is what I said.
No, you did not, because you told me, I asked you where he worked at and everything, and you
What
told
was
me
the purpose in telling him?
because she was also talking about abortions and stuff too. And it was, to me, I felt it wasn't my place, because I was
So you didn't want her to have an abortion?
Well, if she wanted to have the abortion, fine. But it was like, I was like in.
You didn't want to take me to it.
No,
you
I didn't
want to
want
drive me home.
The reason why she got
'Cause you were in
Wait a minute, are you
training.
telling me that you
couldn't
believe
take time off
that
work.
since the other man was the father,
he had a right
that
to
he
know.
had a right to
He
know
had a right to
that
know
she
that he
was
had a kid out there in the
Quite
world.
well.
and that before she decided to abort, and he had a right to be
also know
involved in that decision?
He had the right to know that too, because the thing is, I felt
I
like
already knew
this.
his
She got
feelings
upset
on
at
it.
me because I was at a class for my job I do now for collections. Okay, we're having classes.
Which you
If
could
you
do
if you miss
anytime.
class, you get dropped back, right?
Is that related to the subject that we were on, or you going somewhere else?
Nah, this is related because the thing is, she wanted me to leave my class to go with her to go get an abortion. To me, I didn't feel like I needed to go with her
Well,
to get
that's
an abortion.
asking
Did you
a lot,
ever
isn't it?
tell the father?
Nah, to me, the guy that she slept with, if she wanted to get an abortion, take him with you.
When divorce court returns, Teresa pleads for justice.
I married the man. He should love me and he should care for me just as much as I do for him.
And Teresa's witness gets under George's skin.
You are really out of line to call and pass judgment on her in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. Divorce court is back in the case of George Stemmons, who says he's divorcing his wife Teresa after only 4 months of marriage because she got pregnant by another man.
Ms. Stemmons, did you ever tell the other man that you were pregnant?
Yes.
And did you tell him that you wanted an abortion?
I didn't want to. He already had kids of his own, so I didn't think that he needed to go through the heartache of it all.
So then another
I was
issue the
going
two
through
of you
enough
had, you
myself.
wanted Mr. Stemmons to go with you for the abortion.
Yeah.
You thought your husband should be there.
Yeah, I thought my husband should be there for me.
Why?
Because I married the man. He should love me and he should care for me just as much as I do
And
for
so
him.
if you married the man and he should love you, vice versa, shouldn't you love him enough?
Exactly.
But yeah, you didn't want to put the other guy through heartache, but yet you want to put me through heartache to
Yeah,
go
right.
with
You didn't want to tell him about it, didn't want him to suffer, didn't want him to know, and
you
wanted
should
to
have
share
wanted
his
me to
feelings.
go through suffering alone?
You should have married him then.
Something is,
But I didn't.
But see, you know, I'm like
But
this.
I
right?
know.
That was one of those issues of not accepting full responsibility again and running away
I did
from the
accept full
problem.
responsibility, and I went by myself, and I went home all drugged up, and that did not matter. And, you know, I did not.
Snapped at me. You snapped at me because I didn't go with you.
Well, that was dangerous.
That's because I was hurt.
I didn't have to go with you.
You didn't.
I'm trying to get my career going up.
Go on
Wait
ahead.
a minute.
You go on
the two
ahead
of
and
you
get
are
your
arguing
career.
among yourselves too much.
Okay, I'll look at it like this.
4 months of marriage, you
That's
find
right.
out she's pregnant.
She doesn't- she doesn't
hold on
wanna
a
go
second.
no-
You're going in different directions. You want to go in career-minded. She wants to stay where she is and keep the job that she has. It's not going to work.
That's
but you
right.
know what? You could have found that out before you got married.
But hey,
It didn't take a long time to figure that out.
well, when someone comes up and gives you this whole little, I say, disguise or illusion that this is how they are.
Well, I don't think she gave you a disguise. I think you just didn't take enough time.
He knew everything
A month
about
is not
me.
enough
I didn't know
time.
anything about you.
You knew every single thing
That's
about me.
my point exactly, Mr. Stemmons. You didn't take enough time to figure out what she was all about and what her character was and how that meshed with yours.
Well,
and whether the two of you could form a marriage together and you were going to be on the same page. You were reading, you know, one book and she was reading another. Now you want to divorce her. What's the problem?
The reason why I want to divorce her is because basically, like, you know.
Why didn't you do it a long time ago then? Why'd you have to put me through all that torture of just calling me names?
It wasn't really torture by calling you name. It was basically
Why
like
isn't it torture when you call people names?
Because
out of their name.
Well, because one, if you get accused because you work in 2 jobs and you come home one job from 6 o'clock in the morning, then you get ready to go to another job, well, fine. She knows where I'm at.
But that's not the point.
Where
You're telling me
are you when
that
you're coming off
when
to
you
work?
say he called you out of your name, what are you talking about? What do you say?
Because
Well, he called me all
I
kinds
asked
of
her a
names.
question. What? Like what?
All of them in the book.
Well, he didn't call you my name, and it's in the book.
No, I called her like a
Called
slut.
me swearing words.
Yeah, I swear.
Called me the B word, whore, you know?
Because
And you say that's not torture.
no, it's not torture when you know what kind of mouth she has. Because the thing is,
I just
see,
kind of
saying
sat
that
there.
it
There
came
wasn't
back
nothing I
to
could say.
reality,
I didn't want to say nothing to you because I felt bad over what I did.
Hush up. Reality hit me.
Oh, no. Don't you do that.
Reality hit me.
Be quiet, Mr. Stemmons. I have on the black robe. I'm the only one that says that. You don't tell her to hush up. Now, I can imagine what else you said to her outside of my presence. And it is torture, and you don't have a right to call her anything other than Teresa Stemmons or some love name that you want to give her that's affectionate and warm and loving. But any other name, you don't have the right to call her, whether you think that she's living up to your standards or not. Who are you, Mr. Self-Righteous? And she doesn't have a right to call you that, and it doesn't change the situation.
I know.
I still don't understand. If you were willing to marry her, married her, you were willing to care for this child that you knew at that point it wasn't yours, or at least you were led to believe that. Now the child no longer exists because she wanted to save the marriage, and this was going to be a conflict. If you were willing to let her give birth to the child and remain married to her, why now you don't want to remain married to her?
The reason why I don't remain married to her because she doesn't want to go nowhere in life. I go to work about 8 o'clock. I get off at 5. I get home probably about 6 because of traffic. Well, if she's still not at home, oh, I'm over at my friend's house. Well, what you doing? Well, hey, the only thing I know you do over at that one friend's house is smoke weed and drink.
You don't know my
So
friends.
you have different character and you all about a different thing. Well, you have a witness over here. Is this your witness, Miss Stemmons?
Yes, this is my friend.
And what is she going to tell me? Would you please tell me your name?
Tasha Dickerson.
This is your best friend that you hang out with all
And
the
that's her
time?
best friend. She don't even know
And
me.
is this the person that he's
Yeah,
claiming
so how
that...
are you going to accuse her of being something that you don't even know about?
Because every time I asked about her or anything I know about her, it was, oh, yeah, I was over at Tasha's house when I smoked weed over there.
Is she over to your house a lot?
Yeah.
And are you smoking weed?
No, ma'am.
Well, you should have
You don't
taken
know
the
my
time to
friends.
know about her friends before you married her, and then you wouldn't have been in that
not
position
I know that's-
while you're
that's
trying to sit here now and pass judgment on her. Those are the kinds of things you find out before you marry. That's the evaluation. That's the analysis.
See-
You meet the friends, you meet the family, you meet them all.
Okay, only thing I got was because of
because
words
you
that I
wouldn't
get
meet
from
Now,
her.
if you never met her, Miss
Because-
Dickerson, and she never met you...
Because if the person, like, the only thing she knows about me is that she gets the word from Teresa. All right?
But Mr.
So the only
Stemmons-
thing I know about her is from what Teresa tells me. So that's the image I
If
get.
you never met Miss Dickerson and you never had conversation with her, you are really out of line to call and pass judgment on her in any way, shape, form, or fashion, just like she would be for you.
Well,
You
the
don't
thing
even
is-
know this person, and don't blame her for your wife's attitude, conduct, behavior. Your wife is an adult. She does what she wants to do. Have a seat, Ms. Dickerson. Thank you. What is there to end on a 4-month marriage? What could you be fighting over other than a divorce?
He wants his ring.
What ring?
I want a divorce, plus I want the money that she promised me because I paid for both our wedding bands.
I told him that I would buy him the ring that he wanted. I don't want that, because if I try to pawn that, you get about $25.
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about. First of all,
it's a wedding band.
You can have the ring.
I don't want the ring. I want my money that
you want your money.
See the
That's
wedding
about
band.
all this is, huh?
Let me see the wedding band. That's whose wedding band is that?
That's hers. I paid for both of them, mine and hers. And the reason why I don't wear mine because if you work around generators, anything with electricity, more or less you can get shot.
So you want the money that you paid for yours or the money that you paid for hers?
The agreement we had when we went to get the rings, right?
Yes.
I pay for her ring, she pays for mine. Well, she didn't have the money to pay for mine, so I
told you that I would get you the ring that you wanted.
Let me finish.
Okay, so the thing is, I basically paid for my ring myself, and she said, the only thing I told her was, if I pay for my ring, just give me my money back later. She said, fine.
All right. And she never gave you your money back?
That's because as soon as we got married, there wasn't any relationship to keep together. I didn't think I was going to have to owe you some money.
Did you promise to pay for the ring?
I told him that I would get him the ring that he wanted.
But you didn't promise to pay for that particular ring that he purchased that day?
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict. And an update on the case of Diana Phelps versus Marcus Phelps.
Is he a con man, or were you just being a little excited over whatever it was that he was doing for you?
Divorce Court will be back in session in a moment. Divorce Court is back in the case of Teresa Stemmons, who says she's divorcing her husband George because he spends too much time working and not enough time with her.
And you say that you paid for both your ring and hers?
Yes.
Let me see the receipt.
This is the receipt for my ring, okay?
And you don't want her ring back, you just want her to pay for yours?
No, she can keep her ring. Just pay me for my ring.
He just wants the money.
For my ring.
When did you buy this? Before you married her?
The same day we got married.
So it means that you bought it hours before the ceremony was performed, right?
Yeah. And see the thing is, another thing was basically all the marriage license and everything like that was supposed to have been planned while I was at school down here. And that's what she told me she was doing, but she didn't do it.
You bought the ring before you got married. If she made a promise to pay for it and she didn't pay for it, I don't see anything in writing. I don't see an agreement.
It was a verbal agreement between her and me.
Right, but she's saying that was not the verbal agreement. The verbal agreement was I'll buy you the ring that you want some later date. You're saying the agreement was I'll pay for the ring that I am buying now. That's not the same agreement. No one has anything in writing. I don't know what the agreement was. But you bought the ring before you married her, which is not a community debt nor a community obligation. That's money out of your pocket on a promise that you say was made. I don't have evidence of the promise, not sufficient evidence. You got married, it didn't work, and even if you had, I wouldn't make her pay it back because that's what happens when people get married. They buy each other rings or somebody buys both rings and you exchange them among yourselves. Do you still have your ring?
Yes, I still have my ring, but I don't wear it.
Good. You can wear hers if you want it. She said she doesn't want it. So you can take this one back. She doesn't want it. That's all I can give you. That's my order. You get her ring. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
When Divorce Court returns, an update on the case of Diana Phelps versus Marcus Phelps.
He used me for 7 years.
But he wasn't doing anything for you for 7 years.
Nothing.
Look at me. Do I look like I was born yesterday?
Well, something.
Oh, okay.
Closed captioning for Divorce Court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. And now for an update on a previous case in Divorce Court. Diana Phelps said she wanted to divorce her husband Marcus because he was a freeloader.
You call him a con artist?
He is.
Is he a con man, or were you just being a little excited over whatever it was that he was doing for you?
He used me for 7 years.
But he wasn't doing anything for you for 7 years?
Nothing.
Look at me. Do I look like I was born yesterday?
Well, something.
Oh, okay. So you got something out of this deal.
One more little thing. We've become better friends now than we've ever been.
Oh, you want her to rekindle the flame again.
Diana said Marcus took her car and hid it from her for 3 years. The judge ordered Marcus to return the car because Diana had made all the payments. Diana said she picked up the car from the corner where Marcus had abandoned it and was upset to find he'd let it get filthy and run down. Diana had the car cleaned from top to bottom, sold it, and bought herself a new one.
I still care for him. I wouldn't mind trying to make it work, but he's just too busy loving and hating me at the same time, and I don't want to live like that for the rest of my life.
Put it like this, I basically plan on just sticking with my military thing, and I'll probably just go back full time, and that way I don't have to worry about women at all anyways.